Hey everyone, it's Karen, and on today's episode, I brought Ethan Hunt, author from Instagram. Ethan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, no worries. All right, so we have plenty of questions as usual for him, so let's dive straight into them. Are you ready, Ethan?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. All right. The first question I have is, how do you find time to write?
Yeah, so for me, having a pretty busy career and family things and whatnot, I really have to literally book time in my schedule, right? So a lot of times Sunday mornings are my favorite kind of go-to time, but even on the weekends, I really have to block that time out and basically tell the family like, hey, can you just leave me alone for 2 or 3 hours, like on a Sunday. And I kind of enjoy writing in the morning a little bit more. You get the cup of coffee or whatever, the birds are chirping outside, and I don't know, I think that's kind of a nice time to get creative.
I agree with you. Like, yeah, I like the nature sounds, so that's helpful for me too. So
Thanks.
I sit
Yeah.
downstairs and I have my slider. Normally I would have it open, but sometimes I have wasp that I have to deal with. But I normally leave it open. I can just hear the birds chirping and all the like some we have deer that I've been kind of feeding a little bit of the leftover vegetables or something that's about to go bad. I'm like, here you go. So
Yeah.
I have my nice little nature scene that's
Nice.
helpful. So I agree with you.
You're like Snow White over there.
I I didn't even think of that. I'm just over here like, oh, we have a mom because literally we've had a mama deer and then she had babies and then that baby or had two babies and the two babies are having I'm like, oh my gosh, we have like a whole family of I've only seen one buck the whole time though. I'm
Yeah.
like, this sucks. I want to see who the dad is. Like, I don't know. I'm from the country originally, so I'm used to like,
Yeah.
well, how big is his rack? Like that's what I'm thinking of, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I don't know.
How many
All
points?
right, off. Yeah, right. How many points? That's what it is. It's like I couldn't think of what it was called. I'm losing my country touch. That's not good.
Yeah.
uh, but all right. Next question I have for you is well you already kind of answered the what is the best time to write or day of for you to write. You kind of said morning. So I guess the next question
Yeah.
is how do you know what to write then?
Yeah, so on the first book I did, Gone to the Movies, it was almost kind of like I had a story in my head and I just sat down and wrote it linearly. And that was nice because I know a lot of times authors can get kind of stuck in the mushy middle or something, but for whatever reason I didn't have any struggle with that. But on the project I'm working on now, I'm really trying to utilize this concept of what's called a series grid. And
Mm.
I think you and I talked about this before. I found this
Oh
book called
yeah.
Book Architecture. It's by a
Ah.
guy named Stuart Horwitz, and he actually goes through examples of how big time authors that we're all familiar with have used these things called story grids. So he's got examples from F. Scott Fitzgerald, Aaron Sorkin, right? And he uses The Social Network, the screenplay for that as
Yes.
a example. And J.K. Rowling, he's got one of the Harry Potter novels in here. And I know
Oh.
for the Rowling one, he has her literal handwritten series grid, a picture of it right here in the book, which is kind of lends
Oh.
some credibility to it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. So the basic premise that he starts with is your story can really only be about one thing. And that's kind of a difficult thing for a lot of us authors to get over. Somebody says, "Well, what's your book about?" Right? And we go on like a 20-minute, diatribe about all these things. But at the end of the day, there really should be just a 1 to 2 sentence, what is your story about? And the book architecture, the series grid allows you to go through and lay out major scenes. Think of it in terms of like a spreadsheet, like a matrix. You lay out all these different scenes, and then you have basically ideas or concepts or story points you're trying to get across laid out across the top. And so anytime you have a scene, you really have to say, can I pin this scene to a major concept of the story that I'm trying to get across? And then there's the concept of repetition, right? If you have a theme you're going for, you want to repeat that 2 or 3 times. It's like the chorus to a song, right? That
Yep.
hook that we get. that happens two or three times during a song, and it's a lot of times what brings us back to it, right? Is that beat that you can feel with the lyrics and that particular part of the song. So anyway, so that's what I did this time. I've built my story grid, and I'm trying to go through, the major scenes and kind of write according to that, and then let that be my map, as I try to navigate through.
That's interesting because, yeah, I haven't heard that from any other author besides you. And I really like that you have something that you actually reference to because some people are just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm like them too, kind of just like off in La La Land. Oh, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just over here writing. But like you actually, I have a
Yeah.
reference book. And I'm like, I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. It's great. So,
Well, it's
all
kind of
right.
a funny story too. I got this from like a um fundraiser or something, and it's actually signed by this guy. So I found him on, I think it was still called Twitter at the time. I said, "Hey, I
Oh, yeah.
I want to tell you how great this book is and whatever." And he goes, "Oh, what number do you have?" Because it's numbered. And I have number 91 out of 250. So it's just kind of a random
Oh,
thing how this came into my possession. But yeah, it's actually
great.
it really changed my way of thinking, in terms of how to write.
That's so cool. I like that he numbered it. I didn't even think about numbering books and then giving
Right?
them away like that or signing them and doing it that way. That's a good idea. I like
Yeah.
that. I might use that for whenever I
Yeah.
get my books out there. I might number a few of them. So, all right. Next
Yeah.
question I have for you is how long does it take you to write a book?
Oh yeah. A very long time, I guess, is the short answer. In fact, yeah, Gone to the Movies, I think really only got completed in the time that it did because of COVID, right? I was stuck at
Right.
home.
Hmm.
I shouldn't say stuck, but we're trying to be careful and at home with
Yeah.
tons of time on my hands. No kids' birthday parties to go to on a Saturday and all these things that we normally have to do. And so that one I was able to knock that out in I think like a year and a half, something like that. My current project, unfortunately, is I'm stuck in that mushy middle a little bit, and that's I'm going on probably a year and a half plus, trying to make progress on that one. So it really depends, and I do have a really important career that I'm dedicated to. So this has to be something that I fit in kind of on the fringes, and that's going to make it take much longer than it should.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. We all have day jobs. We got to deal
Right.
with. So
It's like somebody's got to pay for all that. Yeah.
it's
Pay for
right.
all the
Someone's
toys.
got to do it. I guess it's gonna be me. So,
Yeah.
all right. The next question I have is, what is the most difficult part of writing a book besides not having time?
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah, making time for it. Yeah, that's certainly the biggest one. I think I think it's probably it is that how do you get through those middle parts of your kind of story arc, right? If you break your book down into the classic kind of like three or four sections of, kind of build up and then problem resolution and then, that kind of stuff. I know for me, it's that middle point where it's like how many small stories within the story are too many versus how many do you need to make sure your characters are really well known, I think, by the reader. So I think that's definitely one thing. And then I think for me, it's a more of a personal issue where I have this idea that I want to write very linearly. And I've seen a lot of authors say, no, just jump in and write different scenes and you can always put them all back together later. And my brain just really struggles with that, even though I know I could get my projects done a lot faster if I would just allow myself to kind of bounce around, and
Right.
sort of capture the magic of each one of those scenes when I have it in my
Mhm.
head or, the way I'm feeling, and then just put it back together later because as we all know, that writing is writing, but a lot of what we have to do as authors is editing, right? It's reading that thing
Yeah.
5, 10 times, you and maybe other people, to double check that it flows and all of these story pieces are going to come together properly. So I know that for me, that's one thing I want to try to get over is like just write a little more randomly. You can always edit it back together later.
Yeah, I like that idea. The just put it back together. And when you were saying that, I was like thinking of a puzzle. I'm like, oh, and now we're doing puzzles. Like it
Right.
does make sense though.
Yes.
Like, yeah. So, all right.
Yeah.
Next question is, did you self-publish or did you go the traditional publishing route and why?
Yeah. So, when I first had this idea for the story, in my head, I see it as a movie, right? And so I thought, well, maybe I'll try to write a screenplay, and who knows if that would ever see the light of day, right? And I thought, maybe it'd be better to write a book and just get the story out there and just see if it resonates with people, see if it kind of leads me to the next thing. And so I made the choice to self-publish because I started doing a little bit of research, and it's not that difficult, right? It's actually pretty easy to write a story and put it out there on Amazon or Ingram Spark, or even get it into your like Apple Books and some things like that. And so I thought, you know what? I just want to get the story out there. I don't want to shop it around to agents for 2 years or 5 years or however long some people have to
Right.
wait. And I certainly didn't want, some editor to get their hands on it and start telling me to make huge changes to it. Not that I'm completely opposed to changes, just it was the story that was in my head, and that's what I wanted on paper. And so, yeah, self-published was definitely the way to go for me. And it was a big learning experience because you have to learn about what to put in there for copyright, how to make a cover, what to put on the back, how to format the interior, and maybe you need help with that. So all of those elements, now that I understand the full end-to-end process of publishing a book, I think it would help serve me well, whether I want to self-publish again, or even if I were to go the traditional route, at least I'd understand all the elements that go into putting a book out there.
Yeah. That all does make sense. Yeah, because I used to always want traditional route, do it for me, and then how you brought up,
Mm.
if you give it to somebody else, they're gonna be like, no, we're changing this, and then to me, that's not you, that's them. So technically, I don't know. I feel like people shouldn't even go
Yeah.
traditional route, but that's if that's their own opinion. If they want to, cool. But my opinion, if you want to be creative, then do it yourself. Just do it yourself. So,
Yeah. Well, the,
all
the
right.
internet offers so many unique ways that we can do things now, right?
Yeah,
And I think you and I both know whether you self-publish or not, you're expected to have a presence out there, right? Social media, help
right.
with your marketing, whatever. And so I'm still trying to think of like some unique ways the internet could be used to get stories out there, different
Mhm.
ways than just the old classic go to the store and buy a book, which I still love. I think that's always going to be part of who we are as humans and story consumption. But is there
Right.
something else that could be done, right, that's super unique that would just in and of itself capture attention? I don't know. I don't know, but something to think about.
I agree with you, but we're
Yeah.
small people according to all of them. So, all right. The
Yeah.
next question I have for you is, what important advice would you give a first-time author?
Yeah, so this is one I think about a lot because I did not have this advice when I wrote my first story. My advice is just sit down and write. Don't worry about how well it's structured. Don't even worry about character names.
Mhm.
Um, don't necessarily worry about story arc and whatever. Even like using this series grid concept, I
Right.
think that there's actually a lot of logic to getting the story started and then coming back and helping refine it and manipulate it using the series grid, right? Because I think we all know there's the classic plotter versus pantser or whatever, types of writers. Some of
Yeah.
us just need to get in there and start writing. We haven't thought forward on all the dialogue or every single character interaction, and we organically let some of those things manifest. But I think the number one thing is just get a draft down on paper. Like don't hesitate. Just sit down and start typing. That's my number one, I think, piece of advice. Have a nice little center of excellence where you're going to write a little corner of your house, your apartment, a bench in the park, whatever it is, right? Somewhere where
Right.
you feel that sense of creativity, and then just go for it because you're going to have to come back and edit the heck out of it anyway, right? So you may as well just
Right.
get that first draft down on paper as quickly as you can. And by the
Mhm.
way, I need to take my own advice on this.
Yeah. I agree too. I was before since I was in school and stuff, they were telling us like we need to be structured, and so I was like kind of editing and doing everything as I was writing. And now, like you said it
Yes.
perfectly, don't listen to your teachers. Like, just get it down on the paper.
Nice.
Like, I
Yeah.
promise. Like, yeah, for
Yeah.
school purposes, listen to your teachers, but like after school purposes, don't listen to your teachers. Just write it all down, and once it's there, it's like it's there, so you don't have to go back and oh, did I thought of something a while back that could have fit in here? No, just as he said,
Yeah.
as Ethan said, just write it all. Put it all, just put it on paper. So, all
Yeah.
right. The next question I have for you is what inspires you to write?
Yeah. So this one, I have a very specific answer. So basically music, right? So if
Mhm.
you read Gone to the Movies, if you go to look at my blog on my website, ethanhuntwriter.com,
Mhm.
it explains literally chapter by chapter different songs that I took inspiration from for that story or that scene, or even just the title of the chapter. You know, something made sense about using chapter titles in my book. And so like in this particular case with my first project, there's a song called Gone to the Movies, and it's by a band called Semisonic, who I think people will all know from Closing Time, which is a song that's, was super popular. But these guys have a great kind of a, set of albums that I was a huge fan of even before they went, got popular. And this one particular song, I kind of took it and put a major twist on it with the dog, right? I don't think the song was about a dog, but in my
Yeah.
case, that's what I, ended up doing with it. And that was a major kind of inspiration for me that just gets the creative mind going and saying, okay, how could I apply my own life experiences plus the general kind of loose story that I hear in this song, and then it becomes a story in your head. And then I got another project I'm working on right now that's also very much flows from a song. I won't say the band or the song name just yet because I that might reveal too much, but it's it's one of those songs that just pounds you right in the chest, and you go like, okay, there's something more here. And again, take some life experience, add a little bit of you know um inspiration, from that thing. And yeah, it's pretty fun, right? Because you start to feel that motivation and everything kind of come from that source. So for me, yeah, music is a huge one.
Yeah. I love music, so you're making me want to, like, I can't wait to get your book because I really at first I wasn't like into it because I don't know. And then now since you said it's about music, I'm like, man, now I really want it because like I'll be able because see certain like song lyrics or something, I'll be like, oh, there's that song or there's that band or whatever. Like I never really thought
Yeah.
to for my writings, I never really thought to put certain song. I don't know if I've ever put any song lyrics in it, but I have referenced certain quotes and stuff from movie, like because some of my books I used to write were because I always thought that like everybody loves romance the most. So I was like, well, let me try to do a
Yeah.
romance stuff. So I was like finding all these like movies that I did kind of like because I'm not a romance person at all. I'm an action or
Oh,
horror, thriller, anything but romance. Like, I don't know. It's just too cheesy for me. I'm just like, does this ever end?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
long story
Wow.
short, I would take some movie lines out of certain people's relationships. I would think of something and I'm like, oh, wait. They said that. I think that would answer him or her like, and then that's where I get mine. But yeah, music, I'm into that too. So I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna try to get your books as soon as I can. So but the next
Oh, well, I
question.
will I will send you a copy. Yeah,
Oh,
you like just yeah, chat me your address when we get done. No, that's easy. And by the way,
oh,
too,
cool.
I was thinking too, if one of your viewers, first person to comment or something, or first person to put a quote from my blog in a comment or something, I'll send them a copy as well. So if you want to run a little promo that way, we can do
Yeah,
that.
I can so do that. Awesome. Thank you for that. Cause yeah, I'll just send you my address. And
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I didn't even think about playing like little games kind of like that, but thank you. Cause I
Yeah.
haven't really had any other authors like want to do anything or didn't like think of anything. But now that I'm starting to kind of give everybody my I have a PO box, not my address, but everybody, just to
Sure, sure.
inform you. I
Yep.
know I'm not giving you all my fit like not this is not towards you, Ethan, because you're a great
Yeah.
person. But I'm just saying, like viewers, like no, it's a PO box. I'm not giving you all my home address,
Right.
never. So. But yeah,
Yes.
we can so do a little game. Whoever comments or whatever, I'll do a promo on all my platforms. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Awesome.
Cool. The next question I have for you is when did you first realize you wanted to be an author?
Yeah, so this one's definitely much more recent for me.
Mhm.
I when I was in high school, I had a teacher that really saw something in my writing and convinced me to be on the school paper, right? Which is definitely different
Mhm.
than fiction authoring. And I remember trying to write song lyrics when I was a teen, and stuff like that. I think probably we all do a little
Yeah.
bit of that, going through different things. But really, it wasn't until the story for Gone to the Movies was just like concrete weighing in my brain that I said I have
Mhm.
to sit down and write this out. And the weird thing is, before I put this book out, I wasn't even reading that many prose novels. I was reading a book for like work type stuff, on how to be a manager and things like that once in a
Yeah.
while. But I wasn't reading a ton of prose novels. So for me to sit down and write one was almost kind of like, who is this fraud even trying to do this? And so I it was like I said, kind of that just before COVID, and in that time frame. So really only about 10 years ago, I started really thinking, okay, there's something here and I want to do something creative, outside of work, outside of everything else I have going on.
Yeah. That's exciting. Yeah, I feel like COVID kind of did a lot for creative people. It was helpful for us because we got to stay home. We didn't have no job. Well,
Yeah.
I had to go to work because I was, I don't know why, but sales associates were still required to go to work. I mean, we did get, I think, like the first 2 weeks off, like no matter what, because it was like mandated here in our state. But then after that, certain people had to go
Yeah.
back, but we couldn't do like so many people on shift or whatever. It had to be less. And I'm like, that sucks. Like, we're
Oh
already
yeah.
stressed as it is now because, well, like the
Right.
distancing and so, but
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of good for us because, again, like you said, we had time to be us. We had time. So,
Yeah.
but
No, the introverts and the creatives were celebrating, I think, during that time. I don't mean that seriously. I just, yeah, it was like,
yeah,
oh, my time back? Wow. But of course, very sad things were happening in the world, so
yeah,
I
I
don't want to
know.
downplay
Yeah.
that.
That's why I say it's not like really, it's good for us creatives, but like everybody else, like it really wasn't like there was actually a major problem going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, not a fun time.
Yeah, no. So, all right. The next question I have for you is what are your favorite books to read besides your own?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, right. I know, right. Actually, I do kind of wish I would make time to go back and read my own story because I know it needs some adjustments, but whatever. But I don't think we ever stop messing around with our stories as authors. But actually,
Yeah.
I read a lot of comic books. I've got a big stack of like X-Men books I'm working through right now over here on my side table, and actually, since I put Gone to the Movies out, I really have connected with a lot of independent writers through social media. So at first it was a lot on Twitter, and I've more or less kind of abandoned that platform. And so now I look out for things on Threads or even Blue Sky,
Mhm.
Facebook, Instagram, right, which is where you and I connected.
Yeah,
And
that's
I've
me.
pretty much every yeah, pretty much every fiction book I've read in the last like 5 years has been an independent author. And you want to know what? Every single one of them has been good. Like they've been so good. I get inspiration to like start my own publishing or my own, production
Yeah.
house that would convert them into movies or just something.
Right.
And so that's where a lot of that's been coming from. And of course, I do read a few kind of books about leadership or whatever, for
Yeah.
work type stuff. And
Hmm.
I don't want to make those sound boring. I think some of them are very interesting. They can be interesting to anyone, but really, yeah, tend to stick to kind of the literary fiction kind of section of the independent, kind of book,
Hmm.
and I'll venture out a little bit, into maybe paranormal a little bit, or even some like borderline fantasy type stuff. But yeah,
Hmm.
that's. that's kind of my sweet spot right there, though, is independent kind of literary fiction type stuff.
Nice. Nice. All right. The next question I have for you is, what is your favorite part of being a writer besides confusing people on the bands and song lyrics? Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
which
right.
song is it?
Yeah.
Which this lyric is from this band or no, it's this band.
Yeah. Yeah, the song titles. Yeah. Yeah, if you yeah, every one of my chapter
Oh, the
titles, it's like,
songs.
okay,
Yeah,
what,
song title.
what's the deal with
Sorry.
this? Yeah. No, but yeah, for me there's two things. One is just that when I do make the time is that feeling of kind of sitting down and when I've been there and I've been working for a few minutes and then my brain clicks into that zone where you can almost see the next words before they're on the page, and it's that place where a creative kind of forgets about everything in the outside world that's going on around them because they're just so clicked into to what they're doing. That's like a great feeling, right? And if anyone's not gotten there yet, there's all kinds of techniques to get there, right? Different musics and BPM you can turn on, that get your brain into a certain what they call zone. I know
Yeah.
programmers have some techniques to get themselves in the zone. So that's one thing I love. The second is actually it's the editing process, right? I love going back and reading through my story and going like it's funny because I'll get to a certain section that I think didn't go well, and then I'll reread it and I'll go, I'm not that bad of a writer, this isn't too bad. And kind of enjoying because at that point you're enjoying the story for yourself. You're looking for
Yeah.
tweaks and maybe even some, line editing and stuff, but still, to me that's the fun part because the first manuscript is done. Now you're going back and you're checking on it, and that's a great. I think that's a great time in the whole process.
Yeah. I like that. I kind of agree with you too. So, all right. The next question I have for you, what makes a great story?
Yeah, so this is I you hear things like this about pretty much any kind of art, right? What makes a great song, what makes a great painting, what makes a great story, a great movie, and whatever. And I think it's a borderline cliche, but I do believe in it. For me, it's just if you made the reader, the listener, the viewer, whatever, if you made them really feel something, right? It could be feeling joy, it could be feeling grief or sadness or happiness. Um, Feeling frustrated, maybe they're like, oh, I just want to reach through the page and strangle this character, they're driving me crazy with how dumb they are. That's a great
Yeah.
story, right? You made somebody feel something, right? And so because you could get into all kinds of structure. Oh, there has to be three acts and there has to be this,
Oh
that, and the other
yeah.
thing. But if you can,
Yeah.
right, it's like you can get really clinical about it. For me, did they walk away feeling something? Did they remember something from it that
Yep.
stuck with them? That to me is the hallmark of a great story.
I agree with you. Yeah, you gotta get their emotions or they're not gonna like feel how you said, I just want to reach through this page and strangle this character. Like
Right?
I felt that
Yeah.
I felt that plenty of times. So yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, we have three more questions
Nice.
and then we are gonna wrap it up real quick. So
All
all right,
right.
what's the most surprising thing you've learned while writing your books?
Yeah. So number one for me was how much you have to go back and reread and edit it. I did not see
Mhm.
that coming for whatever dumb reason. Probably because I had never written a book before. Probably because I don't read a ton of or I wasn't reading a ton of prose books. But yeah, the number of times you got to go through and check everything, really, and it's crazy because I've still found at least two typo type things in gone to them as many times as I read it and had an editor read it. I still found one situation where I accidentally slip into third person past tense rather than third person present tense.
Yeah.
And so, so tense is one of those things that those are the
Yeah.
gotchas. And then I have at least one. I can't remember if it's a grammatical or a spelling error that I found, in the story. So, anyway, it's the editing, right? I just did not see that coming for whatever reason.
No, I completely agree with you because for some reason too, I didn't think I had to ever edit my stuff either when I was younger. And then it was like I got older, I'm like, oh, do I really want to do
Yeah,
this? Like it's so much
right.
fun to write your story. It's so much fun to pick out your graphic or your photo or what it like for me for one of my books specifically, I want to take a picture for the cover and then for each other like each chapter I want to take a picture of I don't want to like spill so much but of what's going on in my book, but like each chapter there
Yeah.
is they're in different areas. So I want to be able to take a
Yeah.
picture in each of those areas and have that inserted within that chapter because I don't know, I'm also a visual person too, so I kind of like also I'm like, oh, there's pictures that helps describe more like how we have like little maps or something for like
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean or like any pirate book. Like they in the book they'll have like the map and you have
Oh
to
yeah.
follow it. So that I mean, I just like
Yeah.
having actual pictures. That's what I'm doing. So yeah.
Yeah.
That
Totally.
I don't know. All right. The next question I have for you is how do you handle writer's block?
Yeah, that's a it's funny because I keep saying I don't have writer's block right now, even though I haven't written in probably months. But
Hmm.
it's for me, it's actually just sit down and start writing. Um, there again, it's getting your brain back into that zone, and you can't do that, sitting and watching a show or doing something other than the process, right? Which is sit down and write. So,
Right.
I know for me if I can block that time in my schedule and sit down and start putting words to paper, it will come,
Hmm.
right? I don't have to worry too much about that.
Hmm.
Um, and I think the other thing too is I don't work on multiple projects at the same time, but it's like if you're stuck
Hmm.
on one thing, we all have that little notebook of ideas that we keep, to ourselves, right? Grab one of those other ideas and go work on that and flesh that out for a little bit. You never know what spark that might drive back on the project you're really trying to get done. And then the final thing is because I get all this inspiration from the songs, I go back and I listen to the song. Like what was it? What were the songs that initially kicked off that creative spark in my head? Go back and re-listen to that because I'll probably get back into that place of feeling where I need to be to keep the story going, right? Or get a new idea for an angle on the story. And so that's a big one too, right? Just go listen to the song.
Yep. All right. We have about 5 minutes left. So Um, do you
Okay.
have any thing you want? I'm gonna just kind of skip the last one because it's kind of just like a funny joke and but I want to highlight, do you have anything um that you want to talk about with your upcoming book or your current book or anything?
Yeah, most definitely. So I am working on what I would call a prequel to Gone to the Movies. And so
Yep.
for anyone that's fortunate enough to go ahead and read it, there's a dog in there, and for whatever reason, the dog is living in a junkyard basically next to a drive-in movie theater. So the prequel I'm working on now really explains the whole backstory as to why the dog lives there. How did it end up there by itself? Living
Right.
off of movie popcorn and leftover hot dog bits that the moviegoers didn't finish and that kind of thing. So
Right.
so there's that, yeah. And so I'm about maybe a third plus of the way through that one, and hope to make more progress on that this year. And then yeah, I'm on all the social medias, right? Ethan Hunt Writer. You can find me on, like I said, Threads and Facebook, and that's also my happens to be on my website as well, ethanhuntwriter.com. And so, yeah, go check it out and check out the blog. Maybe even if you don't have the book yet, just reading one or two of the blog posts might spark something and make a person a little more interested. And yeah, hope to see people out there.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us, and thank you everybody else for joining us as well and getting to know Ethan. I really appreciate you coming on to my show, so thank you. And yeah, I'll tag all his stuff as well, like all his blogs, all of his socials and everything, just in case if you can't find him. I will have all his information on the YouTube channel and everywhere else, like on my Instagram. So if anybody has any further questions, just get a hold of one of us about his book. And I'm so ready for the prequel already, and I haven't even read the first book because I
Oh,
love
thanks.
like I love the idea. That's why I want it because I the idea is what's great. Like it's a backstory, and that's what I love. So I
Yeah.
really like it.
Nice. Well,
All
thank you,
right.
and thanks for having me on.
Yep. No worries. All right. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Bye.
Right. Bye.